Alpha without Omega. I am Africa.
Today is the 29th of January 25. It's Wednesday and African Footprint will be performing today, but please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Mark Strydom. I am from Cape Town, South Africa, and I work in theatre. I've been working in theatre now since 1986, so a very long time ago, yeah, I know. Anyway, so I came to Dubai at the end of December to take part in the Global Village Festival. And this is where I met this super cool man, this great human being, Manny. And Manny is a fellow African, and Manny is residing in London at the moment. Manny he just made such a big impact on me. This guy's gonna go places. Manny, you're gonna go places. This is Nejnat, he's my friend. I brought him with from Cape Town.
Okay.
And Nejnat, say hi to Manny. Okay. So Nejnat, he's my companion, he takes care of me, he's my guardian angel. He told me that if I don't take him with to Dubai,
Yes.
I'm going to be in big trouble.
So he's come from South Africa?
He coming with me from South Africa, yes,
Amazing.
yes.
Amazing.
He started out as a pillow
Sure.
to put your head on,
Sure.
but then he became my friend, so.
And he's been to the desert.
He's been to the desert now.
Immanuel, this is Mark. He's the stage manager of African Footprint. I'm one of the dancers and presenters at Global Village, part of the GSA team. And we met in January 2025. So tell me, how's it been this last month?
So, the last month was one of these most beautiful experiences that I've ever had. I can guarantee you that. I'll tell you why. Because every time when you are in an environment where you experience so many people, so many cultures, so much love, so much togetherness, and all of us have one thing in common: our love for the theatre.
Yes.
It's a mind-blowing experience. It's the only experience in Dubai that I have like that.
Sure.
Nowhere else in the world.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So that was my experience. I don't want to go home.
Yeah. I did a little bit of research and found out about Joburg Theatre. Assuming you perform there, what's the comparison between there and here? What's it like there? Because I've never been.
Johannesburg is the premier South African theatre venue. There's theatres all over the place. Big theatres, there's quite a few big theatres, there's big venues, big event venues. And up until before COVID, all our venues was occupied all the time.
Okay.
Out of the 7 big theatres that we have in Johannesburg,
Yes.
it was occupied all the time. Big shows, international shows coming in. So it's quite a vibrant space for theatre. Cape Town, exactly the same thing, only less so, because the comparison between Cape Town and Joburg in South Africa is that Joburg does all the big commercial stuff.
Sure.
And in Cape Town, we do traditional, oldish sort of things.
Yes.
Authentic stuff.
Okay.
And comparison to Dubai,
Yes.
Dubai is more of a cultural togetherness sort of space. I have not heard of any formal theatres in Dubai.
Neither.
I'm sure there's venues for that sort of thing, but I haven't heard of any formal theatres. But the Global Village,
Yes.
I think, sort of takes that
Sure.
responsibility over. And it's a mind-blowing space,
Yes, it is.
you know?
So what is the essence of African Footprint?
African Footprint is the kind of work that exhibits and celebrates the cultural togetherness, the values of Africa.
Okay.
I mean, you saw it. So it brings together various old concepts. It celebrates right at the beginning. It celebrates the beginning of mankind.
Yeah. Yes.
Man formed in Africa
Yeah.
at Mapungubwe
Right.
in South Africa
Amazing.
is where the first humanoid was found. The oldest humanoid was found. And so African footprints celebrate from that moment right up to the beginning of the 20th century. And that's wild.
Yes.
Mandy, that's wild. That is how many billions of years is that celebrating, you know? So it brings together, it basically eclipses every celebration that we've had on this earth. That is the essence, that is the beauty of African footprint. Old and new, modern and ancient.
You're only obviously showing a piece of it at Global Village.
It's what Global Village requires. Global Village is the kind of space where we take the best of everything.
Yes.
And we celebrate the best that we have.
Right.
Not, that the best that we don't have is not celebrated, because we learn through those experiences. We can only get to the best if we've gone through the sad experiences. But that is what we do at Global Village.
Yes.
Celebrate the best, and it is only a part of the whole show. The whole show is 1 hour, 20 minutes. We are only doing 27 minutes of the whole part. It's a small piece, but it's the nice juicy bits.
Yes, it is the nice juicy bits. What was that process like? Was it strenuous or was it fun?
When we started celebrating, when we started rehearsing, I saw what parts we are going to perform. I thought this is brilliant. And so you get into a rehearsal space where you got high energy right from top to tail. It was interesting because basically Richard Loring took the essence of the whole bit and put it into 27 minutes, and the story kept intact.
Right.
As is, because you still have the big creation beginning and the big finish right at the end, which ends in Africa's only hosting of the Football World Cup. 2010.
Yeah. You said Richard, the director?
Richard Loring is the director and the creator of African Footprint, and the only person who could put a piece like this together, taking the essence of Africa and putting it on stage. There is no other piece like this on the entire planet. Richard Loring. Richard Loring is the king. He's been living in South Africa now for more than 50 years.
Okay. And
he comes from Britain.
Oh, he does?
He comes from Britain, but he's been in Africa for more than 50 years. So, I mean, if there's anybody that understands, that's got that bridge between what is required internationally and the essence of where you grow up and where you live, it's a man like Richard Loring. He's influenced people, he's made a major contribution to South African theatre, he's been innovative. I mean, he's one of the pillars of South African theatre at the moment. South African theatre has got a lot of gratitude towards Richard Loring, I can guarantee you that. Stage manager. How did I become a stage manager? Okay, started out training as an actor.
Amazing.
And studied at UCT Drama School. Then my first job out of drama school was a stage manager. My first job out of drama school was a stage manager. And I thought, I quite like this. I still have a lot of skills to learn as an actor, but I haven't stopped being a stage manager since. I've always gone back to it. I've done other stuff in the meantime. I also work in the film studio. Floor management, I've done some lighting work, I've done sound work, I've done production work and all of those things. But I always come back to stage management because it's challenging but rewarding at the same time. You know? And the kind of skills that you learn as a stage manager is remarkable. I always say to people, it is some of the rarest skills in the working world, but very few people actually need it. Can you imagine? And that's what I love about it. You are put in a position of responsibility, but you are also put in a position where you have to care for people. Right. And that's a part that I actually enjoy the most. Yes. Caring for people and meeting people. Right. You know, like you, Manny. Like kings like you. My first stage management job was, and I know it was before you were born, Manny, because you were young, was in 1994. Wow. Yeah. Okay, so what was your first role, if you remember, in 1994? At that time, 1994, I'm sure you will one day come across this information, but South Africa had just come out of a segregationist system we called apartheid, where the races in South Africa was separated, kept apart, whites, blacks, coloreds, which I am from. And in 1994, our arts councils were still very white controlled. So it was remarkable for a guy like me able to stage manage. And I got this job because the head of the department, somebody who helped me get into theatre 7 years before. And that is how I got into what was then one of the big bastions of white culture, a company called Cape Performing Arts Board. And I was one of the very few non-white people working in this space. And that's where I started. And my first job was a play called, stage managing a play, an Afrikaans show called Kringe in die Bos, Circles in the Bush. And 3 of the biggest stars in South African film at that time performed in it.
Wow.
And you can imagine I was over the moon because I knew these people, I saw them on TV, and now I'm working with them.
Yes.
That was in 1994, and it was one of, it started me off. That was the reason why I thought I'm going to stay where I am now. 30 years. I met so many well-known people, and I discovered that these people are salt of the earth. They are good people. They are not to the characters that you see on TV. No. And I think a lot of people make that mistake. One of our biggest stars was attacked physically in public because of that misconception. And I experienced some of that, and I thought, now I understand what the magic is all about.
What's the best thing about being a stage manager?
The best thing about being a stage manager is the fact that you've got a big responsibility. That's number one. The fact that people trust you. The fact that you are able to care for people, you know? The fact that you are able to understand people better. You learn a lot about people when you're in that position.
Sure.
And the stage manager is the contact point between the 3 different parts of any production.
Okay.
So the 3 different parts of a production is your technical team, your production team, and your cast. So that's the 3 different components of any production. Any production. And your stage manager is right in the center.
How does it feel to have that responsibility?
Powerful. Daunting. Daunting.
Yes.
Powerful.
Yes.
And it humbles you because people trust you and you cannot make a mistake. And you do. But you can't afford to. And a lot of times when you do make a mistake, everybody understands. And that's the most remarkable part. That you are also seen as a human, a superhuman, but when that happens, the whole sense of, you know what, you've got so much responsibility, we understand. We got you back.
If you weren't doing this, what would you do instead?
Ooh, that question, Manny, that question. Those times when work dried up for a while, I did contemplate at some point, maybe I should do something else, you know, my family, my parents especially was going, you should try something else. My whole family are all technical people. I'm the only one in the arts field. I tried a couple of things. When I was in school, I thought one day I'll become a lawyer. And that idea completely sucked. And I thought I would never become a lawyer. I went from school, I went to study building engineering. Study for a real job. Then you do whatever you want to do. I promise you, I did 2 years of building engineering and I never went back. At the end of my second year at building college, I went to audition. I never told my parents. I went to audition to get into drama school and I got in. I told them that I got in, that I'm giving up on Christmas Day. Got the letter the day before on Christmas Eve. I was so happy.
Best Christmas present.
Best Christmas present for me. It was the worst thing I could have told them. Great man, superhuman. My mom isn't with us, but what a beautiful set of parents I have. I miss you, mommy. They were not very happy, but my mother understood. My mother was the one that explained to my father. Let him follow his heart. If I didn't, I probably would have ended up building buildings and houses. I still have a fascination for construction. I look around Dubai and I see all this construction happening. I look around Cape Town and everywhere I go. That time I was in Nigeria, I saw quite a bit of construction and I was fascinated with it. So that's probably what I would have done. And I'm not sad that I didn't end up there. I'm more happy that I followed my heart.
Follow your heart.
Follow your heart. And follow many.
Please. What's the best thing about being in theatre?
The work that I do as a stage manager, the things that I experience, the places that I go to. And if I was not in theatre, I wouldn't have sat here next to you. That's an absolute fact. The traveling, the meeting people, the understanding of various cultures, the listening to various languages, the things that you've learned. Theatre people have this thing, we just connect with each other. Theatre people are the most intelligent people. We are more intelligent than politicians, journalists, and I won't say the third thing because I'm going to get into trouble, but let's go for engineers. I would not ever give this up for anything. You know, we are the soul of society.
People come to get a release in theatre.
People come to get a release. We are the ones who create that space for them. Through stories like African Footprint. We say the things that society is afraid to say.
There is an expression of freedom, particularly in African Footprint and all throughout theatre,
that makes the audience member go, why potentially am I not so free? Why have I not allowed myself to express this
Exactly.
amount of love or passion or whatever it is that's being displayed on theatre? It's very visceral, it's very real, and it's very inviting.
Absolutely. And everybody wants to be on stage. The young girl who dreams of standing on that stage one day and singing her heart out.
Yes.
The young man who wants to do his dancing, singing, whatever the case may be. And those are aspirations that I think are so important to young people, and we need to nurture that. Eventually they may never end up the big stars. But guess what? They've gone through an experience to learn and understand more about themselves. That is theatre.
Thank you. What is the most challenging thing about being in theatre?
Yeah, everything that is good for us can also be bad for us. The most challenging thing that I've experienced of the theatre is that, and I suppose we are responsible in the theatre for it. We don't do enough live performances. We don't consider the theatre a sacred space. I'm going to say a very controversial thing now, man.
Sure.
The experience in the theatre is, in my opinion, more important than our religious experiences. When we have religious experiences, it is limited to the people who follow, to its followers. When we have theatre experiences, it's open to everybody. We experience that at Global Village at the moment. We are not saying in front of that stage there's only a particular group of people that can come and watch. We are not saying that on the stage only a certain group enter the stage, but we look at our religious traditions. We're not preventing people from taking part, but there are some restrictions that are not in the theatre. And I know it's a controversial thing. And the reason why I can say this is because I'm here in your presence, and you allowed me to do that. For that I thank you.
For your honesty and your authenticity. Next question. Do you have a faith? If so, how does it relate to your work in theatre?
I have a strong faith in the humanity and goodness. Goodness, and I want to emphasize that. I don't want anybody to take that lightly. I don't follow a formal religion. I was brought up in a formal religion, in the Christian faith, in the Protestant faith. But I grew out beyond those concepts at a very young age. By the time I hit my early 20s, I was already on this path of understanding humanity, understanding Poppy, understanding Mark, understanding my friends, understanding humanity first and foremost, and in the goodness. Us as human beings, we instinctively, spiritually good. We want to do good. We are doing good. We are nurtured and conditioned to be destructive. That is our ideal. So that is my faith. My faith is in the goodness of people.
How does this connect to theatre, if it does?
We teach, we learn, we experience, we share, we love. I've never experienced any violence in theatre. I've never experienced any malevolence in theatre. We are only good to each other. It's the one place where I experience only goodness. You know, that is where my faith lies.
Your faith is theatre.
Oh, I like that. Manage to solve my problem. My faith is theatre. My faith is beyond theatre. My faith is in you, in humanity, in our goodness, in our goodness. I hope to see a lot more of this guy.
I hope everyone sees a lot more of me.
Yeah.
How many shows do you have left?
We have 8 shows left. From tonight, we have 8 shows left. So the countdown has started on Monday. So we have 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And Saturday is the last show. Monday we're flying back to good old South Africa. And then hopefully we'll be back in Dubai very shortly, because I just love being in this place. Just stay in touch with Manny over here. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. See you.